Get up. To Pittsburgh we go. Big news yesterday. Justin Fields took the first team reps with the offense after Russell Wilson told Coach Mike Tomlin he was dealing with calf tightness. Here was Tomlin explaining that decision to hold Wilson out of practice.
Starts aren't always ideal, but that's like life, man. Russ woke up today, man, his calf was tight. It was my decision to sit him down today. Create a little short-term discomfort for him, not allowing a small problem to become a bigger problem. He can be characterized as day-to-day.
Well, how did he kind of take the decision? Did he want to get out here and play? Did he feel like he could?
He wanted to, and he was probably capable, but I'm getting to know him, and I just chose to create a little misery for him in the offensive unit.
Okay, so the words, always fascinating. Dan Graziano, as luck would have it, your training camp tour had you there for this yesterday. What can you tell us?
Well, I'm concerned because I went to Ravens camp and Lamar Jackson didn't practice, and then I went to Steelers and Russell. So I think these teams are going to stop letting me come to their camps if this continues. So we'll see how Deshaun Watson does today. But look, Russell was out there, okay? So he's walking around. He did some light throwing after the practice. If he had a severe calf injury, my sense of it is he probably wouldn't have been on his feet for the 2-hour practice. So I think we can probably believe Tomlin when he says it's not too serious, but it was serious enough that he didn't practice. If they're trying to back him off and give him some rest practice time, it wouldn't have been on the first day of training camp practice. So there's something there. We'll see what happens today out there. But in the meantime, Justin Fields, it's an opportunity. He enters camp behind in this competition and has to catch up with Russell Wilson based on what's happened in the offseason. Yesterday, the entire first-team offense got to operate with Justin Fields at quarterback and start to get a sense of what that's like. That's an opportunity for him. When we talked to him after the practice, that's what he said. He was excited about it. And if it continues, if Russell has to miss more days, that's just more opportunity for Fields to show what he can do.
So, Tim Hasselbeck, just the other day, you were on here, you were telling me that the way training camp and preseason are structured now, that it is just unlikely Justin Fields will get enough opportunity to prove that he deserves to be the starting quarterback. And then, boom, just like this happened. So what does it mean?
Well, I think it does this. I think it shows us the brilliance of Mike Tomlin. Because what I said the other day, Greeny, is absolutely true. You get a healthy, Russell Wilson and a healthy Justin Fields. Fields just isn't going to get the work. All of a sudden, calf's a little tight. Hey, man, this isn't my idea. If you're Mike Tomlin, it's kind of Russell Wilson's idea. He showed up in the training room with a tight calf. He says, okay, a little bit of misery, a little bit of discomfort for you, Russell Wilson. And now it's also an opportunity for Justin Fields. And now the rep breakdown changes from what we were talking about and what we were expecting. And it was because as soon as Mike Tomlin had the opportunity, he made it happen. That is the brilliance of Mike Tomlin in terms of how you handle situations like this and how it ultimately makes your football team better.
What do you think?
Now, listen, people see the smiling faces and teammates and, the love that they show and the compliments that they throw at each other. But please do not forget that this is a grown man's business. You got people with mortgages, kids to take care of, family members that depend on them. And it's a vicious game. It's kill or be killed. And don't ever think that competitive nature doesn't underlie. I can remember my first year, my first drill, I feel like I broke my clavicle, and I probably did. But I knew I was an undrafted free agent, and I had no way possible that I can afford to miss any practice because I had one foot out the door and the other one on a banana peel. And right now, Russell Wilson's career and place in this league is on life support. He's fighting for his career. But, him even mentioning that lets me know that he thinks that he's secure. Why Lamar Jackson didn't show up? Because Lamar Jackson isn't being challenged. Lamar Jackson isn't in a new place. And if I'm Justin Fields, I'm saying this is my opportunity. And he'll never get this spot back because I'm going to get chemistry. And when you talk about older quarterbacks, we got the 30, Tim knows, you got the 30 and over club. Guys don't bounce back like they used to. Camp isn't as tough as it used to be. But you talk about Russell Wilson, calves don't just get better easily, right? So you have that can grow to other things, compensation now that his other hamstring is hurting. This is an opportunity for Justin Fields. If I'm part of his team, I'm saying go take the job. This is your opportunity to be a starter, be on a good team, a great situation for you, and this could be your future. And what better organization to get that start than the Pittsburgh Steelers with a proud tradition?
It happened as quickly as this. We'll see whether it turns out to mean something. Much more football as we go. Back on Get Up at the bottom of the hour. So I promised you I was going to play you a soundbite that was going to finally make it all make sense. And here it comes. So the Dallas Cowboys opened training camp yesterday. You know the details by now. C.D. Lamb holding out. Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons awaiting new deals. Jerry Jones has been saying for months now that he is all in, right? And we have been confused because the actions of the Cowboys don't seem to match up with those words. But when I heard him say this yesterday, it finally all made sense. Give a listen.
I'm all in. I'm all in. Sometimes being all in means you narrow. You remove the months out here that are in the future. And you narrow it down to where all we're talking about is right now and the next playoff season. And that's it for everybody. We're all in. We're all in. It's all right there. Let's okay, we all got some things out here in the future, another 2 or 3 years on contracts, all that stuff. Let's all get in here. Zero right now in this. Dak's got his year. Contract, let's focus right here. We all got a lot on the line for that playoff game. A lot of it.
I mean, fascinating, right? Like you couldn't make
Crystal clear.
Christopher Nolan has never made a movie more fascinating than the things we just heard Jerry Jones say. And finally, it makes sense. Because when I think of all in, all this time I thought that meant doing sort of like what the New York Jets are doing. I'm going to go out and sign this guy, go out and sign that guy, trade away draft picks, put all my chips in the middle of the table and say, I'm going to do everything I can to win this year. I finally understand, Graziano, that Jerry Jones is saying the opposite. Yeah. He's saying, you guys get one more year. I put together a good enough team. Right. I put together a roster that should have accomplished more in the playoffs than we have. So we're all in for this. You guys get it done this year, or I'm blowing the whole damn thing up and starting all over again because I'm the owner and I get to make that decision. And it actually finally now makes sense, everything they have done. Graziano, what do you think?
Yeah, I think what he's trying to get across is it's an all or nothing year, right? It's almost like, you know, some of the segments we do on these shows, right? Is it now or never for the Dallas Cowboys? That's what Jerry Jones is trying to set up here. And look, if they don't get Dak Prescott signed and they don't get C.D. Lamb signed, then next offseason could be one of significant change in that organization, especially if they have a disappointing year. Zach Martin, this is probably his last year. DeMarcus Lawrence is a player that they probably can't carry beyond this year when you look at their 2025 cap situation. Brandon Cooks, there is going to be major change on that roster, even if they get their big guys signed. But I think what he's doing is trying to say, look, Mike McCarthy, you're on your last year. Dak Prescott, you're on your last year. All these other guys, like, now's the time. And if we don't get it done now, then I, as the owner, have the right to look at it and say, yeah, you know what? We need to try something else.
This is what I've been saying all along, that I agree with Jerry Jones. You've gotten this far down the road with Dak Prescott at a $55 million cap hit. So why pay him now? If you pay Dak now, pay Michael Parsons now, pay C.D. Lamb now, and you fall short, it's going to cost you Zach Martin and DeMarcus Lawrence. So how are you going to be a better football team and expect a different outcome the following year? So I feel like this is all in. Mike McCarthy, we all know that Bill Belichick is hovering around. We know that Mike Vrabel is hovering around. That means that, you know, you're on your way out too, Mike. We've given you everything that you need. This roster is more than good. You have two bookend pass rushers. You have a generational talent at one of the pass rushers. You got two lockdown corners. What else do you need? You can't have everything in this league. And he's watching Brock Purdy and what they're doing in San Francisco. They're watching Houston right up the road with a young quarterback, the team that was supposed to be a disaster that's looking like it's trending in a different direction. And if I'm going to Dak, I'm saying, Dak, like, you're a great quarterback, but at the end of the day, you lost to Jared Goff, Jimmy G, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy. I'll give you losing to Aaron Rodgers because he's a better player than you, but you were supposed to be the better player, and those guys had their days on a moment that was supposed to be, you know, pencil mark for us. So if you can't get past them, why pay you and still – I'm not paying you to win one playoff game. It's been 9 years, And everybody else has passed you. The Lions have passed you. San Francisco has passed you. When is it going to be our time? You're going to have to be a force multiplier. We all saw that playoff game, and it looked like Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb were deer stuck in the headlights. They were frozen at the moment, and he's come up too short at the pivotal times. If you want me to get this money, I will gladly give you this money. Get me to the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl. If not, then I'm blowing it up and starting over with a cheaper roster. I can get a first round win, one win by anybody.
Tim.
Can you? Can you get a first round win by anybody? Careful.
Yeah,
no
a lot of people you can.
No Micah. No Dak Prescott. You might not make the playoffs.
Michael and CeeDee Lamb isn't going
Mike
anywhere,
McCarthy,
Tim.
go fight. Like Mike McCarthy's a Super Bowl winning, quarterback or head coach. Look, here's the way I look at this. Like for Jerry Jones, like he somehow changed, the definition of all in to it's cool to have a lame duck, head coach. It's cool to be stingy with a number one wide receiver. It's good to drag your feet, on a quarterback contract, so you're paying him more than you should have to be paying him. Like, he's saying, like, hey, we're all in for the Cowboys. Remember, Bart, you said it a second ago, this is a business. Like, it's also, so Jerry Jones is getting paid this year, next year, and beyond because he's the owner. But these guys that need to be all in for the Dallas Cowboys, their business is making as much money as they can from the Dallas Cowboys or anyone else in the league while they're playing in the National Football League. Like he wants them to be all in for the Cowboys, and those guys are saying like, hey, listen, I'll be all in for the Cowboys. I'm CeeDee Lamb. I'll be all in for the Cowboys, but pay me like a number one wide receiver, and I'm all in.